Ladies and gentlemen, 120,000 US dollars around Q4 2025, most likely October or November, based on the observations of data that I have made on Bitcoin's 4-year cycle theory, as well as the formula that I have come up with on the right-hand side of the screen over here that I'm going to show you guys in a second. That is probably what we're looking at, 120,400. Now, before we get into this video, there are a few things we need to discuss in regards to this prediction, or rather observation. It is rough. It is rough. It cannot be precise. There's no way it could be precise because we simply don't have enough data. Yes, we have around 10 years of data. And yes, we have around 11 years of data if we're talking from the halving. But unfortunately, 11 years of data is not enough to predict exact price points 2 years in the future, 2.5 years in the future, and exact dates. They can give you rough estimates, and this video will be used as a guideline for those rough estimates, assuming the 4-year cycle actually remains and plays out. That might not even happen. Look, I'm a believer in the 4-year cycle. You guys know that, but I want to get something on the table as well. The 4-year cycle, and for all the bears out there who think Bitcoin is going to go down further, the 4-year cycle only remains relevant if Bitcoin remains above 15K. Now, it can go down to 18K, it can go down to 16K, mate, it can go down to anything in between that price region. As long as we're above 15K, that is when the 4-year cycle remains relevant. We are at a part of the cycle now. And as you can see, I've got this chart showing you 3 distinctive colors, 3 zones. We've got green being the bull market zone, red being the bear market zone, and yellow being the consolidation zone. We are in the consolidation zone. Now, we've only seen the consolidation zone twice in Bitcoin's price history, meaning 2 data points, twice. 2 data points is not an established trend. In order to have an established trend, you need to have 3 times. Now, in the previous 2 times, we've seen Bitcoin go upwards during the consolidation zone, okay, generally speaking. But again, it's not a trend. It's only 2 times, could be a coincidence, so we don't actually know what Bitcoin's going to do between now and the halving. But what we do know is that Bitcoin should go upwards past the halving because, unlike the consolidation zone, we've seen 3 data points, all right, 3 green zones around after the halving, and that generally leads to a bull market. We've also seen 3 red zones, which means we have a trend there in regards to bear market. So right now, we are in kind of no man's land for Bitcoin until the halving, which is April probably 2024. So around 10 months away. We don't really know what Bitcoin's going to do. The only thing we need Bitcoin to do is to maintain above 15K. If we stay above 15K between now and the halving, we're all good, and the prediction I'm about to make is valid. If we go below 15K before the halving, the prediction becomes invalid. With that said, we can get into the prediction, we can get into cyclical theory. What is cyclical theory on Bitcoin? Cyclical theory is the 4-year cycle. Cyclical theory starts off at the halving. What is the halving? The halving is the halving of mining rewards, right? So basically the halving of the amount of inflation that's going into Bitcoin, the halving of the increases in circulating supply every 4 years it occurs. It's occurring in April next. The halving kicks off a bull market, okay? As you can see on this chart that I just showed you, the halving kicks off this green zone. Okay, after the green zone, we see 1 year of bull market. We then see 1 year of bear market and 1 year of consolidation, or 2 years consolidation, and then upwards again. Now, obviously, it's not exactly 1 year. It's not exactly 1 year. It's not exactly 2 years, but it's roughly, that's generally what it is. It's generally 4-year cycle, okay? And within those 4 years, so 4 years in the cycle, within those 4 years, you see 1 year of bull market, 1 year of bear market, roughly, okay, and 2 years of kind of consolidation slash accumulation. That's generally what it is. Right now, we're in that 2 years of accumulation slash consolidation, and that should be coming to an end after the halving. So there's many charts we can look at to confirm that the cyclical theory actually does resemble itself in the price charts. This is the most complicated of which. We'll look at that in a second, but the other ways are Bitcoin dominance chart. We know that after the bottom, Bitcoin dominance generally goes up until the halving, then it starts going down. That's because Bitcoin gains dominance during the bear market, and during the bear market, when everyone's scared of investing in altcoins, when altcoins start dying out, Bitcoin gains dominance because it's the safest asset in the cryptocurrency market. And then when the bull market starts, okay, so after the halving, as you can see where I just circled, that's after the halving, it starts going down again because people start taking more risk. They start investing more money in altcoins. Right now, we're in the period of time where Bitcoin dominance is rising, and eventually after the halving, it will start going downwards again. Okay, that's generally what happens there, so that's something that confirms cyclical theory. Another thing that confirms cyclical theory is this chart right here that I just showed you, okay, and that's a simplistic version of the original chart. And another thing is this price chart here that I've got on the monthly chart, okay. Generally speaking, the cyclical structure of the bull markets and bear markets are pretty similar. What we have is in the middle of a bull market, we form this support line on the monthly chart, this red one, and then we go downwards, and in the bear market, we form a yellow support line, and that's the bottom, and then we break above the red line around the halving, and that leads to a bull market. Again, break around the red line a bit before the halving on this occasion, but it led to the bull market eventually. and right now we're rejecting from the red line. Eventually we'll get above it, and that will lead to around the halving and then the bull market. Okay, so there are charts here that give you a simplistic version of what the cycle looks like, and there are charts you can look at that aren't exactly the 4-year cycle chart that give you an idea of what it looks like. But this chart here is the full extensive 4-year cycle date range trend chart. Now, it's important to note the 4-year cycle is not based on prices. The 4-year cycle is based on dates. Okay, and this is why the prediction I'm about to show you in a second, and how I got to this prediction, is a little bit optimistic. Not in the sense that it's optimistic in its price target, it's optimistic in the fact we can even make the prediction in the first place, because historically speaking, 4-year cycle has been a date range trend, not a price trend. But what is the date range trend? Well, the date range trend is based on 5 micro trends, all of which I've identified. I don't know many people who have got a chart like this. There's 5 micro trends within the 4-year cycle, all of which are based around the halving. There's a trend from days of top to top, then trend of days from bottom to bottom, from top to bottom, from bottom to top, and bottom to halving. All of these trends line up quite perfectly within each of the 3 cycles we've seen, so much so that it would be absolutely ridiculous if this was to be a coincidence. There is enough data here, okay, within these 5 micro trends to be pretty much 99.9%, I say 99% confident that Bitcoin is in a cyclical pattern. It's in a cyclical market. It's a cyclical trend. It's very, very, very unlikely. It would be amazing to me if this would be a coincidence. The amount of data here we have is just simply irrefutable. So Bitcoin is currently in and is currently following a 4-year cycle, a sort of 4-year cycle. People say 4-year cycle theory. It's not actually a theory anymore. It was a theory back in the day. I think people just have a habit of using that word, but realistically, it's the 4-year cycle trend. That's what it is. And so this is what we have in the chart here. So assuming this trend continues, which is what you need to do, you need to assume a trend continues until it doesn't, because that's all you can do. People say things like, oh, but this time it's different, this time it's different. Well, guess what? Every time's slightly different. And at the moment, we've seen, even in this massively different time, even in this time, we've seen a perfect bottom in November 2022, okay, as per the cyclical theory. At that time, it was different as well. It's different now, it was different then, still bottomed out perfectly. So as of right now, we've got every inclination, every idea, every reason to believe the 4-year cycle will continue playing out. And based on the date range trend, if we're looking at it perfectly, we can see that we should be seeing, okay, a top on Bitcoin around this October to November period, but let's just say Q4 for the sake of argument, in 2025. October, November, but Q4, we're being conservative, and we're just making it as spread out as possible. Let's say October, November 2025 is when the top will be. We know that the halving will be around April 2024, and we know that the bear market bottom after the top will be around November, December, October 2026. We can actually say that with a degree of certainty, and the reason we can say that with a degree of certainty is because we're assuming that the trend will continue, which is what you're meant to do until it ends. So again, bull market top in October, November 2025. Let's just say Q4. We know that now. That doesn't really help us too much because we need to know prices. As you guys know, dates are all good and dates are all well and good, but they don't actually tell you how much your investment is going to bring returns in. And as I said before, this is not a date range trend. So me making this formula is a bit optimistic in the sense that I can even make it, but I have made it regardless, and I've made it, and it's rough. It's very much worth noting it is rough, and this is an indication, not an exact prediction. It's more of an observation. So with that said, how have I come to this conclusion? I've taken the data on Bitcoin from the bottom to the halving in 2016, the bottom to the halving in 2020, and the bottom to the halving in 2024. So the speculated bottom at 15K to the halving in 2024. Okay, and I've said, well, I've taken from the previous 2 cycles, and I've kind of gotten the average of a number in between there, taking into account percentage decrease between 290 and 210, and applied that to this current number here. We have 153%, meaning that if the bottom was at 15K, which we think it was, okay, and we add 153% to that number, which is taken from getting the percentage decrease between these 2 numbers over here in 2016 and 2020 and applying it to the speculative number, we can see that Bitcoin will likely be at around 39K at the halving. Now, I do want to note, this is where the prediction really has a lot of room for error, okay? The reason it has a lot of room for error is because I've said before, and you would have noted I said this before, right, that we don't really know what's going to happen between now and the halving because we don't have a trend. This is the only period of time we don't have a trend for. We only have speculative data because we only have 2 data points. So this is where the prediction is very speculative. If we do see 39K at the halving, or around 39K at the halving, the 120K prediction becomes very likely. If we don't see 39K at the halving, this whole prediction becomes obsolete. So when I say this prediction is very speculative, and when I say this prediction is very optimistic that I can even make it, that is why. It's simply because we don't have enough data from this current point in time, right, in the cycle to predict where we'll go in the halving. That's why there's only 2 data points. We don't have a trend. So this is the speculative part of prediction. But unfortunately, this part of the prediction, 39K, is used right heavily to determine the 120K price. So that's worth noting. That is where it becomes very skeptical and optimistic. So realistically, guys, what I'm saying is this, and I'll get onto with the rest of prediction soon. What I'm saying is this, though. By the halving, we will have had 3 data points, okay? And by the halving, my prediction for Q4 2025, so by April next year, my prediction for Q4 2025, assuming the 4-year cycle is still active, will be very precise. Right now, it's speculative. Okay, so with that said, 39K at the halving, roughly, give or take, okay? And that's speculative. Halving from, I've taken the data from the halving to the top in all 3 cycles, okay? I've applied the percentage decrease, and I've given the, I've kind of said, okay, the percentage decrease would be 68% from the previous cycle, and I've said that would be that would equal a 208% gain, and therefore that would bring Bitcoin from 39K at the halving plus 208% to 120K at the top. So as you can see, you can pause the video and look over the data there and how I've come to those calculations. You can actually go bring up your chart yourself and validate the data. All of that is correct to a certain extent, and that would bring us from a 15K bottom to a 120K top in Q4 2025. I personally don't think that's too out of reach, and the reason being is because we actually reached a top of around 68K in 2021. So basically, we're only 2xing from the previous top. I think that's very conservative. I think that prediction is probably quite reasonable, right? So the only real part of the prediction and the formula, again, like I said, that is actually that has room for invalidation, really, is the halving. If we don't reach 39K at the halving, that's when we start getting into trouble. And we don't really have any concrete evidence to say that we're going to reach 39K at the halving because we don't really have any trends from this point in the cycle. We've only got 2 data points. So that's why the prediction is nothing more than it's not really a prediction. I should stop using that word. It's an observation of data, and it's a speculative observation of data. But it is interesting to give you guys an idea of what that topping price could be. Around 120K, say give or take 10-20%, it makes sense to try and get ideas of things in the future, even if we don't have all the data presently available. So Q4 2025, we can be pretty confident about the fact that the top will be in that price, in that date range, right, between October and November. As for the price, around 120K, but that is going to be probably adjusted in the future as we get that halving price. What the price is at the halving will alter this formula. We can input some data when that halving price comes in, and we can make it more precise. But as of right now, that's the speculative observation we've been making. And I think it's very important that people understand the 4-year cycle as a whole, understand it's a date range trend, understand that this is an observation, not necessarily a prediction. But with that said, it's good to know the rough estimates. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the Bitget exchange, guys. 15% trading fee discount on this already extremely cheap exchange with my referral link in the description and pinned comment below. We've got a protection fund. We've got reserves information. They've got non-KYC. Everything you need for an exchange is on this exchange, and again, you'll get an exclusive discount using my referral link. Sign up in the description or pinned comment below using my referral link. Then we've got the Crypto Academy courses. This course, Become a Trader 10-unit course, will teach you how to trade. All the information for the course is on the website, as well as the email address for the course. You send us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. We'll get back to you with all the relevant payment information, etc., and also a video walkthrough, video tutorial of what the course actually looks like, so you can make an educated decision on what the course is and whether you want to buy the course or not. We've then got, guys, a VIP group on Telegram, which we trade altcoins in 3 to 5 times a week. We've been extremely profitable in the past, and we've released every single trading result that we have, the wins and the losses. All the information is there for our results to see how we've done in the group. And if you decide you want to join the group again and read more about it, first, of course, find the information. All the information is in the Telegram information group, which is in the description and pinned comment below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I catch you in the next one.